Hey, Lark and Rose here. Let me start with a disclaimer. I'm going to try not to be too insulting and fired up in this video, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to fail. The topic here has to do with the ridiculous mythology that we're taught about consent of the governed, will of the people, democratic republic, and constitutional yada yada yada. And there's one particular example that I think just perfectly illustrates how insane all that garbage really is. And this one example has to do with what's been going on in Colorado and the state of Washington, where at the state level, the people have spoken. They said, we don't want people violently caged for possessing a certain flower, namely marijuana. We don't like that. We have spoken. We changed the laws. And Obama basically said, oh, well, that's nice, but I don't really care what you want. I'm going to continue to send in my armed thugs to attack people for possessing marijuana. So there have been armed invasions of marijuana dispensaries all across Colorado and Washington state. And this has been happening relatively recently. And for this, I'm not even talking about the concept of drug prohibition. For those who haven't seen my video called Drug War, Huge Success, here it is. If you're wondering why the heck I would say it's a huge success, go watch the video. But the point here isn't about the actual issue of marijuana. It's about the mythology we're taught and about the fact that if this doesn't illustrate how insane Civics 101 garbage really is, I don't know what will. Let's review. You have the people of Colorado or the people of Washington state who a bunch of people worked really hard to vote to change the laws so people don't get violently caged for having a flower. And they win. They got their way. They voted. The majority spoke. The people of Colorado, the people of Washington state spoke. They got the laws changed. It's legal. And Obama said, I don't really care. I'm going to keep sending in my armed thugs to attack you for doing something legal. Now, think of the terms we're taught. First of all, consent of the governed. And for each thing, I want to look at the federal government and the state government. Consent of the governed. Obviously, the people of Colorado did not consent to what Obama is doing. They very specifically unconsented and said, we don't want this. We want this changed. We don't want people caged for having this flower. And Obama said, I hear what you're saying. I hear that you don't want that, and I don't give a crap. Here come my armed thugs to force my will on you without your consent. So consent of the governed, the federal level, out the window. How about the state government? The state government said, well, we hear you, people of Colorado, or people of Washington. We hear that this is what you want. We also hear that Obama wants to attack you anyway, and, well, we're siding with Emperor Obama. We don't really give a crap what you stupid people want. We're going to step aside and let his armed thugs attack you for doing something legal in the state that we're supposedly in charge of. So, will of the people, out the window. Consent of the governed, out the window. Democracy, out the window. The federal government said, yeah, we see you voted for that, and we don't really care. State government said, yeah, you voted us into power, and you voted to declare that this is no longer a horrible crime that we cage people for, but we don't really care. We're going to let him attack you anyway. Him and his stupid, mindless mercenary goons, we're going to just stand there as you get attacked. Same thing with law enforcers in Colorado and Washington. You know, if it says protect and serve on the side of your car, please rip that off and throw it away. Drop your badge, go home, because you've already demonstrated that you're a bunch of irrelevant freaking cowards. Literally, there is armed robbery happening right under your noses in your state, and you're letting it happen. So if you have a badge, or if you're a state legislator or governor in Colorado and Washington, stop pretending that you matter. I mean, those state governments have basically said, we're not in charge here. If Obama says he wants to do this, we're going to let him. Never mind that our laws say that you're allowed to do that, that what you're doing is perfectly legal. Mr. Obama still wants to violently attack you, and we're going to let him. We're not going to stop him. You know, this is the moral and legal equivalent of the government of China saying, we don't really want people in Colorado to have marijuana, so we're going to send the Chinese army over to attack them, and having your state government saying, well, who are we to question the Chinese government? We're going to let them attack you. Sorry. Remember, for those of you who care about legality garbage, and I don't believe in state governments any more than I believe in federal, it's just a fine example of how neither of them give a crap what you want. They don't care about consent of the governed or will of the people. They don't represent you. And so you have this situation where basically this foreign armed invader says, we're going to tell you what to do. And the state government says, yeah, we're not going to stop them. State cops, yeah, we're not going to stop them. We're going to let them attack you. So basically the state government is saying, we're irrelevant, we're powerless, we're not in charge here. Emperor Obama's in charge. And Emperor Obama's saying, yep, I'm in charge, and I don't care what you vote for. I don't care what your legislation says. I don't care what the state constitution says. I don't care what the federal constitution says. I can do anything I damn well please. And so far, the people of Colorado and Washington have agreed. Wow, Emperor Obama can do whatever he pleases. Doesn't matter that there's no constitutional authority for it. That's how trite to even bring that up. The document which pretends to give them all their power to begin with doesn't even pretend to give them that power, but, whatever. We just let him get away with it. Will of the people? No, he obviously doesn't have that. He doesn't care. State government doesn't care. Apparently, the people of Colorado don't care either, because they're just letting it happen. There's a term for this situation. The term is totalitarianism. Now, when you think of totalitarianism, you might think of lots and lots of people dying horribly. Well, yeah, sometimes that happens. But what term would you use other than totalitarianism to describe a situation in which a government has no limits on what it can do? And that's the final term to totally make fun of: limited government. Really? Where are the limits? The Constitution doesn't give them the power. That didn't matter. The people voted against it. That didn't matter. The state government said, yeah, it's now state law. You're allowed to do it. That didn't matter. What limits? See, the reality that people don't want to face is that there is only one. In the real world, setting aside all the mythology and civics garbage we were taught, there's only one limit on government power, and that is the people. If you, the people, don't limit it yourselves, it's not limited. Frederick Douglass gave a great thing about this. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. Find out just what the people will put up with, and that's what's going to be imposed on them. And that will continue until they resist. Patrick Henry, same thing. He talks about liberty and says that nothing will preserve it but downright force. And whenever you give up that force, you're inevitably ruined. Yep, they both got it. If the people aren't going to limit government, government isn't going to limit itself. I mean, it's ridiculous to even have to say it. It's like saying, well, we have a limited mafia in our city. Oh, really? How does that work? Well, they have a piece of paper in their, head honcho's office and the Don's office that says things they're not supposed to do to us. Oh, and do they abide by that? Well, no, not really. And then what happens? Nothing. If they don't enforce it on themselves, we don't resist because they're big and powerful and we're just stupid little nobodies. That's the situation. That's no more ridiculous than pretending we have limited government in this country. Obama just gave the perfect illustration. And this is, there are a million other ways to see this, but this one is just so clear and succinct and perfect that the federal government has declared they don't care what you want, they don't care what you voted for, they don't even care what the legislation says, for those of you who believe in that stuff. They're going to do anything they want. And the state governments have come right out and said, yeah, we're going to let them do anything they want. We don't care what you want, you the people, what you voted for, what the Constitution says, state or federal. We don't even care what our own friggin' laws say. We're going to let armed invaders attack you, ha, and our mercenaries aren't going to do a damn thing to protect you. Please, someone tell me how that is not totalitarianism. There are no limits to this government. And the only time there ever will be is when the people are willing to make the limits be there by resisting. And I know the people who have been indoctrinated into the statist mythology don't want to believe that. They want to think, well, we can vote. You voted in this. You won. What good did it do? We can petition to change the law. You did, and you won. What good did it do? For all those people pushing for drug legalization, you got it. What good did it do? You still have armed invaders violently attacking and robbing people for something that doesn't hurt anybody and is legal. You have literally armed robbery happening in Colorado and Washington, and the state governors and legislatures and all of their myriad of spineless enforcers below them are saying, yeah, we're not going to protect you. The emperor has spoken, and he's in charge. We're not. We're just irrelevant little window dressing. This is called totalitarianism, and if there's one good thing that comes out of this, is it's a great illustration of how that mythology is just ridiculous. The fact that anybody still repeats it is ridiculous. The fact that anybody plays the game and legitimizes the game, how much more ridiculous can it get? You really want to vote again? Whether you win or lose, Emperor Obama is going to do whatever the hell he wants to you. You really want to change the laws? Whether you win or lose, Emperor Obama is going to do anything he damn well pleases to you. And nobody in the state bunch of parasites is going to do a damn thing to protect you. This is pathetic, but it's nice to have an example that's this pathetic that shows that all that crap we're taught about limited constitutional republics and will of the people, it's just crap. If you're going to act like slaves, to the people of Colorado and state of Washington, if you're going to act like slaves, at least please stop repeating the lunacy. Just come right out and admit that you are owned by Barack Obama. You are his property. He can do anything he damn well pleases to you. I mean, you've already made that message come across loud and clear with your behavior. Your behavior in the state legislatures and the badge-wearing chicken shits in Colorado and Washington who are letting this happen, who are letting illegal, immoral, armed robbery happen to the people of Colorado and Washington and not doing a damn thing to stop it. That's pretty sad, but just come right out and admit it. Just come right out and say, we are the property of Barack Obama. He can do anything he damn well pleases. Now, I'm picking on Obama because he's the current lunatic, sociopathic narcissist who currently sits on the throne. Exact same thing with Bush and pretty much all of them going back forever. In fact, the war on drugs is more often a right side authoritarian, collectivist, fascist, fun little game of violently attacking people. But doesn't matter who's on the throne. You've just admitted that you're serfs. You're the property of the king, and you're not going to do a damn thing to stop it. Like, you tried to work within the system, and you won, hooray, and it didn't do any good. So, to all those people who say, oh, don't talk about resisting and breaking the law and disobeying, we got to work within the system. Really? You did. For years and years and years, you did, and then you won, and you still lost. Now what do you do? All those people who believe in voting and petitioning, now what do you do? The state and federal governments just said, we don't give a crap what the law says. We don't care what you want. We don't care what the will of the people is. We don't care what you voted for. We don't care what the legislation says. We can do anything we want to you, and you're just going to sit there and take it. Are they right? So far they seem to be. People of Colorado, people of Washington, any of you have a spine? Any of you going to stop this? Or are you going to accept that, never mind democracy, never mind the law, never mind constitutions, Obama or whoever sits on the throne on any given day can do anything they want to you, and you're going to let them?